It's MyEd with Jeff. Seriously, it's MyEd with Jeff. Oh, okay, why isn't it taking a picture? Oh, it's taking a video. Gradebook and Introduction. We're going to talk about the exciting world of your MyEdBC gradebook. I know you've all been eagerly waiting the chance to use MyEdBC for your gradebook, and I'm going to show you just how easy that is. So if we look here in our pages, you can see that there is a gradebook tab along the top tab, and that's where we've been entering our marks. When you set your preferences at the beginning of this whole process, underneath your name here, you had the opportunity to set some gradebook preferences. And in that, you chose what provincial grade, what grade scale you wanted to use, how many decimals you wanted to calculate out to, and then categories only, categories assignment, total points, or category total points. Basically, in this case, you are looking for what scale you want to use, and then how you're going to calculate out how things are going to work. So if you are the type of teacher who does not use categories of assignments, so inquiry, tests, quizzes, that kind of stuff, then you will want to choose total points as your option. And if you are the type of teacher who uses categories to calculate things out by a percentage, then you're going to want to use category total points. Okay, I've set up Sume Mamoun to have category total points as their default. So I just save that preference. You can always change this after you start your gradebook, but that's the first step. In our gradebook, we have our filters. So I have one class set up to use this gradebook right now, so I'm going to select that class. Now, in that class, it's got average mode, so it's going to use gradebook default, which is what I set in my preferences. You can also have differences for your classes, so if you have one class that doesn't use these types of things, you totally can have different things. So for example, my Maker Lab classes use total points and use the provincial final mark scale, whereas my grade 8 classes are gradeless and use the emerging, developing, proficient, and um, extending. So I can make each class different. You can also have classes that are linked. So if you wanted to set up both of your Calculus 12 classes from quarter 1 and quarter 4, you could always set them up to have the same assignments. So here in quarter 4, I have Calculus 12. I had Pre-Calc 12 in quarter 2. I could set them up to do the same assignments. I don't have any of the same classes. If I was setting up Pre-Calc 12 or Pre-Calc 11 here or Pre-Calc 12, I could have them linked for assignments, and then I wouldn't have to do this twice. In this case, now we have categories. So you can access this from this details page, or you can go down here and click on the side tab for categories. You can see I've set up 4 categories here. One is for an inquiry project, one is for a learning journal, quizzes, and tests. If I wanted to add a new category, I can. I just press add, and then I create a code for that category, give it a description, the grade scale is probably going to stay the same, but you can set a different grade scale for it. And there you go. So for example, if I take a look at my inquiry project, I've left this blank because it is sticking with the provincial final grade scale. Okay, and that's how I came up with my list. As you're building it, as you're building those categories in details, you'll see it breaks it down for you in terms of how many points there are. So quizzes, for example, tests 30, 30, and 30. So you've got 30, 30, and underneath my beautiful face there is a 10. There we go. So it's broken it down for me. I can always add from this page as well. Okay, so I've broken that down. And then the next step is to input your assignments. Now again, I'm showing you a mature class, so something that I've entered a bunch of assignments for. You can input these assignments just by going add assignment or add multiple assignments. You can also copy assignments from other classes. But in this case, you can see I've created a series of assignments and populated their marks. Okay. So once you've created these assignments, and we'll have other videos on that, you can go to the scores page. In the scores page, you're still under top tab gradebook. You can look at enter marks by category. You can enter all the marks. And of course, we know how to enter our final grades. Okay. When you're entering all your marks, you can have lots of different ways of doing this. In some cases, you may wish to go across, but you can see I've populated all of these students with marks in each one, and that term grade is calculated as we go along. So if I change quiz number 4 to a 9 out of 10, student's mark goes up as you go. So it's nice and easy to see. And you can also look at different categories to see the term grade for each category. Inquiry only has one assignment, but for example, Learning Journal has 2 small assignments and a big assignment. You can see how that category stacks up as well. And if you look at your quizzes, we have 4 quizzes on here. They're only counting for 10% of the marks. We can talk about whether quizzes should be added for marks later. That's a totally different conversation. And then we have our unit tests here, which were all out of 100. The advantage to this, of course, is that your term grades are calculated. So you can simply click on Update Post Columns, and that will bring your term grade over. Okay. You just go next. Oops. Grade term is term. Term grades for all students. Go next. Term mark. Do not update. So we're going to go with average term there. And then you go next. And you'll see it adjusted that term grade, quarter 1 grade to the term grade, and it's also doing a final grade in there as well. Okay, just simple, easy, and then you can click on your post grades right there. Okay, one last thing to show you is the settings bar right here. There's a very useful trick on here. You can see under settings here, you can set the tab direction. So you can decide if you want your tab key to go across the columns or down the columns. So if you're entering this quarter 1 grade or quarter 1 work habits, you can put in your G here, press the tab key, and go G, K, G, Y. It's not. Try S. Well, this is the practice environment. We know that it would work in our real environment. So when you press the tab key, you go down. Okay, so that's just a useful option in this settings menu where you can do lots of adjusting on things here. One last thing to show you is that when you are entering grades, you can do it by category, but you can also enter individual student. So you can look at student information, or let's go to all here. We have an overwhelming amount of information here. If you want to look at just Leaf's grades, you can look at how Leaf did on all these things and enter his numbers individually. I know this was a really long introduction to MyEdBC's gradebook. In future videos, we'll go through them step by step and go over how you use these tools in particular. Okay, why isn't it taking a picture? Oh, it's taking a video.